Good evening, everybody. Welcome in once again. We're inside the Main Street Pub here in Allendale. Great to have you with us tonight as we talk about a big win at Northern Michigan this past Saturday for the Lakers and looking ahead to a huge battle, the Battle of the Valleys, coming up this Saturday in Allendale. I'm Steve Lloyd-Jones, Scott Wooster alongside. Coach, who are we going to talk with tonight here?
Yeah, tonight, Coach Caruth, Matt Caruth in the house, Laker legend. Has all four of those championship rings from the early 2000s. Back coaching our defensive line and doing an awesome job. And so get a chance to talk to him. And then senior Anthony Cardamone, number 48 on the field, number one in your hearts, right? Just an absolute, I could go, this could take the whole segment, right? We could talk about Anthony Cardamone, but his leadership, you see him on the field, sideline to sideline, the arm violence, knee drive, running, making plays all over the place, but his leadership, particularly this year, this fall, but all the way back to January, and it's really started, throughout his career. So get a chance to know him, dig in a little bit more, see what's underneath the helmet there a little bit with Cardi.
Excellent. So a little emphasis on the defense tonight. Yeah. Looking at the defensive line and the linebacking group. Going to be a tough one coming up Saturday, the Battle of the Valleys. It's Kids Day, by the way. If you're coming out to that game, wear black, as the team's going to wear all black uniforms and wear black to support Grand Valley. The Battle of the Valleys, Saginaw Valley State coming to Allendale, a 2 o'clock kick for that game, and of course we'll preview that for you. It's all coming up on the GVSU Football Weekly Report. It's presented by Berger Chevrolet and the Grand Valley Sports Network. $35-7, Grand Valley the win there at Northern Michigan this past Saturday night. A night game up in the Upper Peninsula there for Grand Valley. The Lakers 4-1. This review of last week's game brought to you in part by Noara Brothers Home Store, bringing you top name brands at low prices, and by Earhart Construction, the official construction company of the Grand Valley Sports Network. 35-7, Grand Valley the win over Northern. It was tough at times getting there, though. That first half, boy, they were fighting you all the way and working through. As you guys got good field position, but they were somehow able to find some good stops defensively. Take us through this as that game unfolded, because it's tied at 7 at the half, and then all of a sudden you guys hit a hyperdrive, and it's 35-7 after 3 quarters, and that's where it finished.
We had a good talk at halftime.
Little talk at half.
Yeah, we got together, and they have you dress in the Berger, which is the hockey arena, right?
Okay.
So it's about a 7-8 minute walk down through the down over the river through the woods type of deal, right? And it's pretty because colors were good up there, and they're starting to turn here, but up there a little cooler, so the colors. Yeah. It's just a nice walk, but we didn't go all the way back. They got this garage, so got in the garage, got some things fixed, but. Yeah, Steve, just coming out of the gate, we deferred. Drake Deshetsky goes down there, makes a great tackle, and we're playing really, really good defense. Mm-hmm. Stone the first triple option. We get the ball back. He shanks the punt, and they don't get a great punt off, so we've got positive field position. First place, greased up, right, just as the doctor ordered. Great protection. 2 wide open guys, and feet get tangled up, and he's on the ground, right? So then, all right, cool, we'll get back to that. Second down, we run a wide zone. Ball bounces out. They hit us in the backfield, and they've got a great crowd there. A lot of energy in the building. Coach Mariucci's number gets retired. Really, really cool weekend for Northern Michigan football. And, those years, that 1975 team. But, yeah, crowd gets into it. And opportunity after opportunity offensively. Defense gets back on the field, turns them over. Again, positive field position. We've probably got 3 touchdowns on that drive, a couple walk-in touchdowns. We miss a big box fade in the corner. I don't know if it gets stuck in the lights or whatever. So just extremely frustrating in terms of what we were doing on offense, right? Some protection issues where they're ugly head again, and then, get it going kind of in that second quarter. Schuster to Kellen Reed. Needed somebody to step up, make a play. He gets the chunk yardage. Comes back, Keon Owens makes a nice play, and then Schuster stands in there and just takes one right in the rib cage and delivers an absolute dot to Kellen Reed to get us on the board. Defensively keep playing well. They punt us down. We finally get a run going about 3.5 minutes, and I'm on the phones with Coach Shu just saying, hey, look, we get something going here. Let's go into 2-minute mode and score right before the half. First run, we get called for holding, backside of the play, tough call to take on the tape, but is what it is. So we punt it back to them. They get a screen pass,
it was.
Guy just gets a little nosy. They get a screen pass on us, and then they boot again. Guy gets a little nosy, break contain, get it down to the 1, sneak it in. So, defensively we play great. Special teams, Trace Hergich is, flipping fields, putting them on the 1-yard line. I mean, the half-inch line at one point. Keon Owens gets down there and gets them right down there deep in their own end zone. Basics, kicking the ball. So like 2/3 of the game we're playing extremely well, but offensively, and there's opportunity after opportunity. We're just not taking advantage of it. So. Just got settled at halftime there, and just got the mindset correct. And that's what I told them after the game, or told our guys after the game, and we've been talking about it this week, is if you don't believe mindset's everything, right? We got the right mindset, and we come out in that second half, right, and play Grand Valley State football. And that's who we can be. You've seen that meme, right? This could be us, but you playing. I don't know if you've seen that on social media, right? But we just watched the third quarter. On Sunday. Usually I make a little cut up and we talk about different things that really impacted the game. But we just watched the third quarter and said, like, this is us. This is the way you play the game of football. Yeah.
Well, Grand Valley explodes in that third quarter. They win it 35-7. And it's a good, Northern, not necessarily a great talented team. We're not going to say that, except defensively they have some linebackers that really make problems.
Oh, 0-44, yeah.
Yeah, Hurdle and Larkin,
Yep.
These guys combined for 25 tackles. So it was tough between the tackles, especially to run or even sideline to sideline. They made things hard. But, yeah, the field position was so good by your defense and special teams that it was amazing. You were starting in plus territory.
Every single time.
Yeah, just throughout that half.
No, and that added to the frustration, right, of not being able to run the football. And, again, I say atrocious. I say not being able to – it was all there, right? It was just a miscut. A guy gets his foot stepped on in the pass route. We've got a pin and pull that's going to be down the sideline. Guy gets us, we don't get the second puller out. We've got a screen that's just over and over, just absolutely killing ourselves. And again, all the credit in the world to Northern Michigan and Coach Richardson, ready to go on defense and and played really, really well and fed off the crowd. But yeah, you flip into the second half and particularly that third quarter, we defended 9 plays. 9 plays in the third quarter, turned them over 3 times.
Wow. Right?
And obviously the 28 points, it took us the first play of the fourth quarter to get the 28th point. But, that's us. That's who we are, And the 3 quarterbacks complemented each other so well. Brady gets it going. Zach gets in there, gets that post, throws a great ball in the post. Schuster comes back. Essentially a very similar ball that we missed in the first half, comes back and we complete that same one. So, yeah, just again, it was just mindset. It was just mindset in terms of a little bit. I think we were prepared to play the game. A couple things went against us early, and just that cannot be us, though, right? Like, you have to be able to respond to that. It's not going to be perfect every time. Okay, 3 and out. Defense plays great, gets them turned over. We get the ball better field position the second time, and we get it right down to, I don't know, that 7-8 yard line, 10 yard line, whatever it was, and throw an interception. So, that's the story of the game, is just the mindset piece of it.
When you say that, is it, so help me out, you wanted more fire from your guys in those moments or focus?
Yeah,
what is it? And
that's a very fine line, right? And that's exactly what we talk about, Steve, is this discipline precision, right? There's a focus, a discipline precision. Coach Lewis uses it in our play chain on defense, talking about like it's the Incredible Hulk, right? Or Superman, so to speak, Clark Kent, right? Glasses on, suit and tie.
Yeah, right.
But then
unleashed.
then it flips, right?
Yeah.
Tear the shirt off as the Hulk, and then it flips into that. And really, that happens in every single play. A play's going to last 4 to 6 seconds. That 6-7 seconds of play time, right? At some point in that, it's going to start with alignment assignment, but it's going to start with that discipline precision, right? That first 2 to 3 seconds, we got to play with Cardamone, running sideline to sideline. He just kind of bounces his feet. The first 2 seconds is what's happening here, and then the Hulk comes out, boom, and he just takes off.
Yes,
makes a play on the sideline. Offensive line, right? Those feet got to get started, and then once they make contact, there's this switch that flips about halfway through the play, right? And as a wide receiver, LJ, the third play of the third quarter, Brady gets 2 quarterback sweeps, and we throw the RPO, and just running that precision route, sets it up, and then I got to go physically snatch this football out of the air, right? That's my football. So, yeah, I think it's a very fine line. We have to find that play in and play out, right? Quarter in and quarter out, game in and game out. So that's what I was talking about. That's the mindset. Some guys are maybe a little bit too geared up. Some guys a little bit maybe too flat, right? You got to find that, and I take ownership of it. But we talked about it today, that you got to take some ownership of that, of your mindset as well.
Yeah, to be most effective. Well, some milestones in this game for Grand Valley. Quarterback Andrew Schuster goes over 1,000 passing yards in this one. Wide receiver Kellen Reed over 2,000 all-purpose yards in this game. And linebacker Jimmy Downs, he's over 100 career tackles.
He's one of those guys that I was not talking about at halftime. He was actually a guy that I referenced at halftime, like, this is how you play the game. He was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And I thought, here's the other thing, too. I thought our secondary played incredibly well. And, you take a Deontay Pippen, a couple phenomenal plays in the run game. Quinn Wills back there. Josh Anderson deflects the one ball.
That was a nice knockaway.
And, a ton of credit. Coach Lewis we made some in-game sideline adjustments that were pretty high-level adjustments. So I give a ton of credit, Coach Lewis and our defensive staff, but in particular our defensive backs, because there was a lot on them.
Yes.
Because you got to keep so tight in there, and then they went to throwing the football, and we got them turned over a couple of times, and perimeter run game kind of got squashed there.
Yeah, well, Northern, for those who may not know, that split back kind of veer attack. Yeah, the corners, it's under there, one-on-one the whole game.
One-on-one, and then we're expecting them, we kind of made some adjustments to come up in run support and make some of those plays too. And Jason Hardy, Deontay Pippen did a phenomenal job. Safeties played extremely well as well.
Yeah, in this game, as we talk about the performances of the week presented by Trinity Health, one for offense, one for defense. Lynn Weichel, you mentioned him earlier. He led your receiving crew 4 grabs, 49 yards, and a score. So he's the offensive player of the week. And defensively, Elijah Baker. He leads you in tackles with 7.
Oh, incredible. And again, sideline to sideline. And one of the adjustments Coach Lewis made was kind of went to our short yardage goal line front as just a base front, and got the extra linebacker in there, and Elijah played phenomenal. And one of the big plays in that third quarter that kind of really sealed the deal is they threw another screen, and he plant pointed and drove on that ball and made a great open field tackle, where if he doesn't make that tackle, it's probably a first down, right? And they get a little momentum back. So Elijah played great. The other one, Zach, first throw, touchdown.
How about that?
Keon Owens, like I said, he makes the great play on special teams, getting them down inside the 1, and then he gets his first collegiate touchdown. So that was really, really cool to see, because he's been phenomenal on special teams. Key has, and it's really cool to see him get rewarded. And with a touchdown, getting a little party in the end zone there. So, again, all the frustration of the first half just kind of got a little relief in that third quarter, right? Had some fun, and again, that can be us. Stop playing.
Well, 4-1 with the win over Northern. We teased it at the beginning of the show, but we're going to talk with Matt Carruth coming up next. Talk about him a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's one. He's put on the black and blue. One of those Laker legends. He did it here. And his story is, and he'll get into it a little bit probably, but his story is so unique in the game of football. Didn't go into coaching right away. Went the business route, went that way, got in the professional world. And then at some point, said, hey, this is what I really, really love to do. And similar to me, made that transition from high school to college, but he's totally different professions, right? And got a great wife, Bianca, that was supportive of that, because that's a leap of faith now. But started coaching some high school, and then the irony again of him getting his coaching start at Saginaw Valley, right? And then when we had the opportunity to hire a defensive line coach this winter, when Coach Dunning had the opportunity to go to Buffalo, we went through the process, but we had a targeted list, and he was the guy that we were really after. And I would say this, we've said this before, you are what your tape says you are, right? You are what you put on tape, right? And that's the coaching world. It's a results world. It's a results business. And you are what you put on tape. You are what your guys put on tape. And what I saw, he started at Saginaw kind of as a volunteer assistant, kind of worked his way into the D-line role. And each year, that defensive line just got better and better. And I was the offensive line coach here the first year, and then became the head coach and just saw the improvement, the growth. And I was just so impressed with that, right, that that's coaching, right? That's coaching. That's development. And so, again, they ran a very similar system to us, so it was just a perfect fit. And then, some things outside of the coaching, the tape, how much value can you bring, right? And as an alum, as a guy that's won championships, that championship ball mindset, the connection with the alumni that he has of that era, so much value. He was the pro liaison, so being able to have the connection with scouts, there's just a ton of value that he brings Grand Valley State football as the defensive line coach and a bunch of other things. And he's a terrific human being and a great man and a great husband and great dad. So like it was just a phenomenal fit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm going to talk with him coming up next as we continue with the show. Stay with us. It's the GVSU Football Weekly Report presented by Berger Chevrolet, live from the Main Street Pub in Allendale on the Grand Valley Sports Network. Thanks for staying with us tonight. The GVSU Football Weekly Report rolls on with our assistant coach interview segment. Now, as promised, the guest tonight, defensive line coach Matt Carruth with me. The assistant coach perspective is presented by Fast Signs of Grand Rapids. Grand Valley, the win over Northern Michigan this past Saturday. That was on the road, 35-7. The Lakers 4-1. They're going to play this coming Saturday in the Battle of the Valleys against Saginaw Valley State, a 2 o'clock kick. So Matt Carruth with me, and a former player, of course, alum, and we were talking off air. Just a really neat group. Not only are you part of Laker football, but you can claim all 4 rings.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
we were talking, how many guys for Grand Valley can do that? It's a very select group.
A very select group of us. We're definitely blessed, a small crew. We like to joke about that with other guys who had to graduate the year before the last one. So it's a funny insider joke we definitely have.
Yeah, 4 rings, celebrating all of those for the Lakers. So, Mac, you have actually, we'll talk about it, 2 stories coming to Grand Valley. First as a player. How did that come about? How did you choose Grand Valley, the Lakers?
Well, I had 2 family members who played here while I was still at Saginaw High School. Actually, 3 teammates. Another guy, Laker great, Keontae Marshall, came here. So I was getting recruited by Coach Martin and Coach Kelly and Mike McFadden, a very dear friend of mine, my best friend. They did their home visits the same day.
Wow.
And they came to school to see me, watch me at basketball practice, went to his house to do his home visit, and they told him that I committed. This was way before the Snapchat era or Instagram or anything like that.
Yeah.
So they come to my house and tell me McFadden just committed. What's up? And I was like, I'm in, bet. That was easy. So that's how they got me to come the first time, which obviously was a great program, great coaches. I went to a couple games when they came and played in Saginaw, and I came and watched them in spring ball as well. So it was like, all right, this is the place for me, a special place. I like the coaches. Obviously, it was familiarity with family members on the program. So it was a good situation for me, and I chose it. I'm definitely blessed that I did.
Absolutely. Talking with Matt Carruth here on the GVSU Football Weekly Report, live from the Main Street Pub in Allendale. You know, the Lakers over the years have had great success with players off the east side and the Saginaw area, which I'm sure Saginaw Valley doesn't ever think about. That's just what Grand Valley has done there. But no, the second time, which Coach Wooster was referring to, you came as a coach. What was that like, coaching at Saginaw Valley and then being able to come back to the Lakers? That's playing on the heartstrings a little bit.
Yeah, it was a blessing. Definitely played with the heartstrings because I was comfortable. I'm from Saginaw. My family's obviously there. I stayed 5 minutes from school. But Grand Valley's a special place. And I respected Coach Wooster from having to compete against him like he just spoke about. And I knew a lot of players from recruiting, and I knew Coach Lewis for a long time. And Grand Valley has always been a special place to me. So when this opportunity arose, I was just like, talk to my family, and they were all down like immediately. So I was like, if you guys saying yes, it's already a yes in my head. So it was an easy one for sure.
So coaching the defensive line, what is it you're drilling into these guys day to day? I think for a lot of us who've never played, it's like, well, just run and go tackle a guy, but it's a lot more technique. What is it?
What's attention to detail in your habits on the daily. In certain ways that we teach and we play our scheme, that everyone does not play that way. So a lot of guys have to get molded into that, which is fine. But it's certain things that we do for our defense and certain guys that we recruit that have certain talents that are very much perfect for our scheme. So certain habits that we do, certain details that we work on, and I speak on every single day. And it really goes back to when I was a player here. We have on our rings attention to detail from Brian Kelly. So that carried me through life. Even in my career working a job, I had to pay attention to detail. My life as a dad, I have to pay attention to detail. So it really much goes to how I was molded when I came here to play football at Grand Valley.
What are you seeing from your group? How are they getting better? What would you point at and say, this is what we're doing better, I really like this? What would you say?
It's hard to pinpoint one thing. I got such a good group.
No, that's right. Brag
I'm
on
blessed
them
to
a
have
little
such
bit.
a good group.
Yeah.
It's hard to pinpoint one thing, but obviously it's easy to have fun playing a game of football. But we're getting better and better with our hands and doing our jobs in an elite way. We have a few jobs that we have to do that are a little bit different, and they change weekly depending on the scheme that we're playing against. But those guys are completely bought in, and they know how to adjust and adapt, whether it's on a Monday, a Friday, or at halftime on a Saturday. So they've been very coachable, and that's a blessing.
What was that like for your group last week, playing all the cut blocks?
Yes.
All of a sudden, you're going against an option attack.
Yes.
So we hadn't seen one necessarily to this point of the year, and all of a sudden you got to get ready for that in a week. What's that like for a D lineman?
Well, luckily for us, Black Hill State, they cut and rolled the whole game, so we had a little practice with that. So luckily we could go back to that. It was some drills that I have in the bank that we use, and we had actual game experience against guys, so I was able to pull that tape up like, look, like, you got to use your hands here, you got to use your feet, you can't just think that you're going to run past people. So we had a little practice on that. Then obviously during the bye week we worked on a few things for Northern Michigan, so we spoke on those details. So we really stole really 3 weeks of this type of practice going against cut blocking, which is not the usual, but clearly we had a really good day on Saturday because we were used to it.
No, absolutely. Defense was dominating. Battle of the Valleys this Saturday. And as we've talked about, that's special for you as the area you grew up and coached there, but now, of course, where you played and you're part of Grand Valley. So this rivalry, tell us about that, the perspective of a player and now a coach.
It's a huge rivalry. You have to prepare every game. The record does not matter. The rankings do not matter because most of those guys were recruited. Everyone's recruited by the same schools, right? So, and both guys play each other in high school and know each other from 7-on-7 nowadays. So it's a lot of familiarity from coaches and players. So going back to when I was playing, it was the same way. We didn't have as much 7-on-7 and internet, obviously, but now it's just a familiarity of now we got similar scheme on defense, and offense is offensive football. So it's a rivalry, I love Grand Valley. There's no place like Grand Valley. Obviously, everyone wants to be Grand Valley. So we are highlighted on everyone's schedule, especially in Saginaw, because the Battle of the Valleys is what it is. It's the students battle for fundraising money, and we battle on the field, and every sport battles too.
Well, and I remember, not to take anything away from it now, but I remember 20 years ago and when you were playing, that was the rivalry.
Absolutely.
That was the national rivalry.
Absolutely.
You could argue that in those years, the winner of those games, the conference, that was likely the national champion.
Absolutely. That's a fact. They had a lot of tough teams. I actually saw
good.
Coach Ari when we were up at Northern Michigan, had a few minutes to talk to him.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about those times. He didn't really want to talk about those times as much. But yes, definitely fun
surprise. All right. Well, great talking with you, Mac. Good to see you again. And welcome back here to the Lakers. We're glad to have you.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. We'll continue with the GVSU Football Weekly Report. Up next, linebacker Anthony Cardamone, our guest, as we continue right after this on the Grand Valley Sports Network. We continue now as we bring in our guest player interview for you. Thanks for joining us on the radio here on the Grand Valley Sports Network and on YouTube at GVSU Lakers. I'm Steve Lloyd-Jones, head coach Scott Wooster back alongside with Anthony Cardamone, our guest player segment, brought to you by Radco Apparel. Be proud to show off your brand, and by Flow Sports, where you can watch the GVSU Lakers all season long. So, Coach, take it away.
Yeah, Cardi. It's time, 48. So, going to go a little past, present, future here with you.
Sure.
Sound good?
Yeah.
So, NFL scouts come in, tell me about Anthony Cardamone, right? And one of the first things I always tell them is, I don't know if Anthony Cardamone's ever had a bad day, right? You're one of those guys, and we talk about it as what hot water does, right? You put different things in hot water. We talk about the egg and what happens to the egg in hot water. Hardens. The carrot softens, and then the coffee bean changes the water, right? It changes his environment. And I think you're one of those unique individuals that is the coffee bean, right? You change the environment.
Sure.
And where'd that come from? I mean, is that you always been that kid growing up, or is it something that you've kind of grown into?
Yeah, I mean, I'd just say it's just me not taking for granted any days. You know, this thing could be over in an instant notice. You know, whether it be an injury or sickness, and I'm just, blessed to be in this position and to have the opportunity to go out and just play football with guys that I love in a place where I love to do it. So, that's a big motivator for me, and it always has been. I've always playing sports growing up. It's been easy for me to not have a bad day because of the people around me and the things I'm doing. So,
a little bit about that. Started. When did you start playing football? What team, what number, what position?
Yeah, blast from the past. So I played flag football first for a church league. That was over pretty quickly. I got basically kicked out of the league because I was tackling people when I was 7.
Shocker.
So yeah, I ended up going to a youth organization, the Shelby Lions, and started playing tackle football when I was 8. And stayed with that throughout. Did that instead of junior high football because we got a little bit more out of it, and the same thing.
Just high level of football.
Better coaching. Great friends, great relationships. Just we were playing in high school stadiums instead of just behind the middle schools. Right. And then obviously got to high school and was blessed to have an offer to come here and continue playing.
So what position? I know. We'll get to it in a second, but Tony Cardi sent me a few videos a few years ago saying if you need a running back, Shelby Lions is where it all started. Right?
So I started playing tight end, and they didn't really know what to do with me. They threw me on the O-line after that. Once I got to like the second year of it, and
O-line,
I was grinding it out, and they needed a scout team running back, so I just started running through people, and they're like, all right, let's give this kid a shot. And then it just kind of stemmed off from there, and my freshman year of high school was probably my best year. I think I had like 9 or 10 touchdowns, and they called me up to varsity the next year just based off offense, and I didn't even – or to play defense based off offense, and I'm sitting there like, I don't know what to do on defense.
Never done this before.
I just want the ball in my hand, scoring touchdowns and running through people, but – it all works out in the end.
So, kind of along those same lines, I just mentioned you got a phenomenal support system, right? Dad, Tony Cardi, and then Cheryl back home. Got a brother on the team, sister. I mean, just incredible support system. Coach Lewis, Coach Smith in high school. A lot of great people. What does that mean to you? What's that done for you?
Yeah. Oh, it means everything. I mean. I know my moms and dad are watching back home, love them to death.
Back from 586.
Love them.
Mom, dad.
Every day, grateful for them. They put me in a position, to be successful, and it's on me to kind of handle that out. And that's, like I said earlier, that's the motivator, and realizing I got all these people that are looking up to me and have had my back and looking forward to what I could do in the future. So, just trying to make them proud and just taking it day by day is all I could do.
Awesome. And a little bit more to the present now. I said in the open, talked about your leadership, what you do on the field. Obviously, everyone can see that, running sideline to sideline, tackles and all that, calling the defense, making the adjustments. But outside of the white lines, right, the leadership, all those things. And going to ask you kind of a pointed question, maybe a little personal here, but you had some opportunities, transfer portal's all the rage.
Sure.
You had some opportunities. What kept you here at Grand Valley State?
Just, I always feel like it's I would take it back to high school, like thinking like each year was kind of like a progressive step into feeling more comfortable and then finally being like that guy where it's my team. And so it's not so much not having confidence in myself to go be able to play it at that level, because I know I could play with those guys. Like, it's just football at the end of the day. But it's more like I'm on this progression, and I'm going through the path, and like I've finally not arrived, because we've never arrived and we can always get better. But at the same time, like, I've put myself in the position to be able to lead a group of guys that I'm not just going to get kind of washed by the next 5-star that they bring in their program. So that's kind of the mentality I've always had with it.
That's awesome. No, and we'll kind of wrap up here, but just for the viewing audience, for mom and dad back home, what you've meant to us, Grand Valley State football, what you've meant to me personally. Talk about the leadership, talk about sticking around, talk about doing all those things. But going back to a portal, going back to some of the craziness of college football, going back to that coffee bean thing, there's been days coming to the Hosford Football Center, high levels of stress, and I see Anthony Cardamone, and that changes, and you have that impact, and I know you'll continue to have that impact for us as we finish this special season, and then for the next 50 years too. So
sure.
Love you to death, man. Let's keep rocking.
Love you, Coach.
And let's do this, all right?
Let's do it.
All right. Thank you, Anthony. Great to have you here tonight. And when we come back, Scott Wooster and I will talk about the Battle of the Valleys, Grand Valley's upcoming game Saturday at 2 o'clock. This is the GVSU Football Weekly Report presented by Berger Chevrolet on the Grand Valley Sports Network. Back in a moment.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk about the upcoming opponent this week, brought to you in part by Matrix Basement Finishing. As the Lakers in the Battle of the Valleys, Saginaw Valley State coming to town. It's Kids Day, 2 o'clock, the kickoff, and everybody encouraged to wear black for this one.
For the down and brokenhearted?
No, for this Battle of the Valleys here. Saginaw Valley State, 3-3 coming in.
Yeah.
You guys right now, as you're coming in at 4-1, but a rivalry. It's intense. It's maybe not in the forefront as much as Grand Valley Ferris State, but this one is huge.
Huge. And you look at the 2024 game. It's a one-score game. It comes down to the very, very last play, essentially, right? And that's what rivalry games are. I think Coach Cruz said it. Coach Mack said, throw the records out, talent and this and that, and everything that's on paper you can throw out, because the emotion, the intensity of it, the history of it, the tradition of it. So, you go into every single game. Doc Arnold's here and been doing some awesome work with our guys in terms of mindset training. And again, we talked about it in the Northern Michigan game. Is mindset is everything. Can you starve those distractions, as he would say, starve those distractions and boil it down to the football, right? Mm-hmm. Boil it down to the football.
Well, the team that's coming in here, Saginaw Valley State, 3-3, really good offensive abilities, and definitely going to start with their quarterback here, Mason McKenzie, the local guy from the Grand Rapids area. That's a tough guy to stop.
Oh, incredible. Great player with his arm, with his feet. And he's one of those guys that, you could design runs for him, but he's probably scariest in the pocket if he doesn't like what's down the field, taking off and running. Creative, different arm angles. He can find, he's a playmaker. Find different ways to get the ball out and different platforms. And, he's a challenge because he's that type of player. And they got a really good skill set around him. Mm-hmm. They've made some moves. They had a couple, really good running backs with 0 and 3 there, and move one of those guys to the slot to wide receiver. So got some weapons out there, and I think offensive line's really good, tight ends. I think both their tackles are centers back. On offense, they can be a problem, mm-hmm. right? They can be a problem. And we've talked about what quarterback is in football. It's always kind of been, but particularly in modern-day football, and they've got one. And then they'll also play, we've got the 3 quarterbacks rolling around. They'll also play another quarterback and getting heavy personnel and short yardage and goal line, and he's a very capable runner and thrower. So, there's some challenges they present on the offensive side of the football.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So defensively, what are you seeing there? I know you talked about a similar scheme. So what do you see defensively?
Yeah, so the crush, the Bearcat front, right? Very, very similar structures. They were probably one of the best defenses we saw a year ago, and playing really good defense and getting better every single week. Through portal and through some graduation, lost some guys, but you can see the improvement from week to week and the growth on the defensive side of the football for them. And it'll be interesting to see from a playing base to kind of chopping it up, and they got some edge games, to maybe control the run. They got some pressures on third down. They get a little exotic. So, like I said, you look at some of those scores early on, but the way they're playing defense recently, you just see the trajectory of their defense. Starts with their defensive line, and that's what the crush front is. Defensive line linebackers, that front 7, and getting better all the time. They got a couple really, really talented defensive ends, good on the interior. Linebackers, set edges, run sideline to sideline, and secondary is getting much, much better each and every week.
Yeah. It seems like both teams kind of coming in. It's like a springboard game opportunity. You guys keeping that momentum going, the 2 wins, you're 4-1. You want to win over a rival. They're 3-3.
But they're 2-0 in the GLIAC.
Yeah, 2-0 in conference play. They want a huge road win over a rival. So there's a lot for both teams.
Yeah. No, and that's, I think, again, you talk about the rivalry, talk about momentum, talk about keeping things going, all those things. And I think it's going to really come down to, and not to jump ahead and key to the game, but really important thing is once it gets inside the white lines, alignment, assignment, fundamental technique, and then like we talked about, the ability to flip the switch to that physicality when it's time to be physical, but not get in such an emotional state where early in that day you're kind of crashing out and getting too crazy, and you're burning too much of that energy, and then same thing on the field. It can't be this wild, a crazy emotional state, right? There's got to be that precision piece. There's got to be that discipline piece.
Well, I hate to be the bad guy here, but it may be some rain you're going to have to deal with. How does that impact you guys? I know you don't want to hear me say it, but does it if it is there?
The exact opposite to me, right? Like, and I kind of joke with this, but I was always one of those guys. I wasn't the best athlete, wasn't the most talented guy, so I loved it anytime other people.
Weather.
I loved it. Hot, cold, rain, snow, whatever, because everybody else has that in their mind.
Sure.
That it's an issue, and so. To us, we call it winter's weather, right?
There you go.
We got that great Kelly indoor and everything else, and there's early on back in 23 when say no, we're still outside. Guys would kind of look at me sideways, and I always had this line: the birds were chirping. If the birds were chirping, like we're going out, we practice in the morning, right?
I like that.
If the birds are chirping, we're going out, but I think we're slowly but surely getting that mentality of this is an advantage because most people goes outside and it rains. It's the old story of the salesman, right? Guy goes outside, it's raining, go back inside, I can't do anything today. Other guy goes out, nobody else is going to be out here, so I'm going to go make some sales.
Go do it.
So that's the way we approach it, and when you got a couple of quarterbacks that see it the same way too, right? And seen number 2 spin it in some pretty windy and rainy situations, so that's a reassuring feeling.
Oh, absolutely. And a special teams group that's so good too. Yeah. You got guys that are so effective, and it's going to be fun. Battle of the Valleys Saturday.
And they said for the fans, that's the big part, right?
Yeah.
Still come to Lover Stadium,
absolutely.
Right? It might rain a little bit, but it's going to be like these little pockets.
Yep.
I just watched Wood TV, right? And maybe right at 2 a little bit, but then it's going to decrease. And it's like 0.04 of an inch. So it's just going to be a drizzle. Yep. It's going to be warm.
Dress appropriately.
Come to Lover Stadium.
Yeah.
Wear black.
Fun. That's right.
Black raincoat. You got a black raincoat? Well, you're going to be in the box.
Yeah.
So we might Johnny cash it out, put the black rain suit on.
Okay. That'll be good. 2 o'clock, the kick, Grand Valley against Saginaw Valley. When we come back, the key to the win as we wind things down on the Grand Valley Sports Network. Now for the Berger Chevrolet Key to the Win, as head coach Scott Wooster gives us that against Saginaw Valley State. Coach?
Yeah, I just already alluded to it. You know, the team, the guys that control that mindset, regulate, control emotion, guys that starve the distraction, feed the focus the best, right? That in rivalry games and games like this, two really great football teams going at it, that's what, you know, who's going to come away with it.
Yeah, no question. Well, at halftime, they're going to be honoring the Hall of Fame class of this year.
Michael, Tennessee.
Yeah, and the 2005-2006 football team's going to be there, along with the women's track and field national championship team.
That's what you do. Grand Valley State, right? Win championships and then come back, talk about it all the time, come back 20 years later and, you know, get back with the brotherhood, and just so cool.
Yeah.
So incredible. You know, we'll go over there. They got a little luncheon for them, so excited about it.
Yeah. No, it's going to be fantastic, and we hope you join us there. All right, that'll do it for us tonight. Our thanks to Matt Caruth, defensive line coach, linebacker Anthony Cardamone as well. 2 o'clock kickoff, the Battle of the Valleys, Saginaw Valley State in town. That'll do it for us tonight. Our thanks to Chad Cashman in the studio. For Scott Wooster, I'm Steve Lloyd-Jones. Thanks for listening on the Grand Valley Sports Network. So long, everybody.